Hello, James from the Shrugs here. Welcome to lesson 4. Today we have some welcome sunshine. Plus, on the bright side, we are going to learn something really cool. Today we're going to talk about ghost notes. Don't worry, there's nothing spooky about ghost notes. They're called ghost notes because they're basically quieter notes. Some texts call them grace notes as well, but from what I can see, they're mostly called ghost notes. So, to my mind, ghost notes are like the connective tissue of a groove. Do you know when people tap their foot along or move their shoulders? That's, the ghost notes are often the thing that's happening that people don't necessarily realise. So, essentially, a ghost note is ghost notes, should I say, are just quieter notes, played at a quieter dynamic level. So, if we just pick a tone, so for ease of explanation, it's just either the bass tone or the slap tone. So, I'm just going to play an example now, okay? So you'll have noticed that my first note on my right hand there was loud, that one, but within that I'm keeping the ghost notes going. So flow is the key here. So I'm moving to the slap tone. So ghost notes are kind of felt, and actually I don't know, can you hear them so well in the microphone there? But they're more felt and implied than like in your face, if you know what I mean. And they really, they serve a lot of functions. Like it helps with keeping you in time to, with other musicians. So I thought a lot about how I would demonstrate ghost notes, and the best way I could come up with was to play a groove with ghost notes and then without. So this is a groove without ghost notes. So now this is the same groove with ghost notes. So we might stick to that beat, and congratulations, because once you've, as I said, this is lesson 4, so once you've kind of mastered the tones in lesson 1 to 4, now we're going to move on to grooves in the next lesson, which will be lesson 5, and I might start with a basic rock beat, which is what you just heard there. So once again, without ghost notes. With ghost notes. Hopefully you can hear the difference there. Like, ghost notes are a bit like Jordan Henderson playing in the Liverpool midfield. Sometimes when you look at Jordan Henderson playing for Liverpool, you look at him and you go, what does he do? But then when he's not there, that's when you really notice something missing. So they're kind of like the seasoning. Ghost notes are like the seasoning of groove, So, congratulations. Like as I said, once you've done all these tones, now we can move on to beats. And just while I think of it, I often said to you on these videos that you should work on your non-dominant hand as well, And yes, do that absolutely. But like, there's a difference between practicing and playing. So all the non-dominant stuff and the really thinking, really focusing is for the practice room. But when you're playing, you know, there's so much going on that don't try not to worry so much about thinking, because you can fix things in the practice room, you know. And so basically what I'm trying to say is like don't practice when you play and don't play when you practice. That's probably the single best bit of advice I ever got from a drum tutor, is that. So, you know, keep in mind in practice to always work on your non-dom. For me it's my left, which is why I'm constantly going like that. Keep in mind to make those as even as you can, but don't get too hung up about it, like, and especially when you're learning, like getting the grooves in your head and getting all the tones and all where your hands go and all that, that's hard enough. So it's a lot of information, and I'm just basically throwing a lot of information at you so you can refer back to these things again if you forget something or whatever. But the other thing is, you're not in a race. So I'll just demonstrate that one more time. So without ghost notes, with ghost notes, right. So basically, like the ghost notes on their own, you can play them on any tone surface. So we say if it was on the slap, the slap bit, the slap tone area of the cajon, which I've talked about before, you're just going. So that's really quiet, you know. So and then the bass tone would just basically it's the same principles apply. The same principles apply when you're playing the loud tones, but the you just play them quieter. So on the bass tone, then they'd be. Okay, so that's it for lesson 4. I'll see you in lesson 5 for our first groove, which will be a basic rock groove, which you can play along to a lot of music. Congratulations! Keep improving!